Okay, this video is all about Rh negatives and the longhorn tick. This is kind of a public service announcement, emergency red alert. Only time I'm talking about stuff that could be construed as fear porn, but it isn't. It's just the truth, and I want you to understand it. None of my other videos I've done have ever been fear porn, out of the hundreds and hundreds, okay? That's just this is the super intro to the intro to the intro, okay? I just want you to know that. If you're Rh negative, I implore you to listen to this. If you go outdoors, if you go for walks, please listen to this video, okay? Because if you listen and it helps you, it's really good karma for me in the afterlife, okay? That's why I'm doing it. I'm a pragmatist. I care too. I have compassion for people like me and other people too, but my blood is my family, you know, even if we don't all agree theologically, I want them to have a good life. Okay? Alright, God bless. This is the intro to the longhorn tick, emergency Rh negatives. Pay attention to this video. It could affect you. Okay? I'm putting up the bad signal for the Rh negatives. And this is, I wanted to show, I talk about later in the video, there's a very, very quick intro. It's permathin. You dilute it down, it tells you how to do it, and you spray with your clothing, shoes, that kind of stuff, and it will kill the ticks, most of them. I don't know about the longhorns. Don't put it on exposed skin, don't apply it when wet. Make sure, you know, be careful, all the things you do with anything else to make sure it's not going to hurt you. So permathin, I got it a few weeks ago, and I treated my clothing, and really, I mean, just to be honest, there is some fear in this video, but it's the only video I've done like this. And there might be redundant at parts and at times. I just wanted to get this information out there for you because it's important, because this is happening. And we're in the summer months, and some of you could have gone outside today hiking and had these things all over you like I did a few weeks ago. By the grace of God, I don't currently have Lyme, and I was treated for it. But because I don't want to get it, I haven't walked in the woods in a few weeks. After a few weeks ago, I had ticks all over me, which I've never had like that before. So, you should listen to the video. It's not the best video, and I'm only doing it to put a message out there for the Rh negatives mainly, to be aware of this longhorn tick. It's an evolving situation. If you live in the southern states, the eastern seaboard, it's all over the place already. It's only a matter of time before it spreads based on the design of this creature. It's kind of a weird thing too. I haven't verified, but they said they first showed up 9 years ago, which is weird to me. And it's not like the other ticks. It hides underground. It doesn't need a mate to reproduce. It's like the perfect vector. And I have a theory that we live in duality, and that the Rh negatives could really do some good in this world, but they still can, but there's pitfalls, and someone has to tell them. So there might be a little bit of fear in this. It's only a video I've done with fear. Okay? Better to know though. Okay? Don't be afraid. Don't be anxious. Just know. And I educate, and I show a lot of information and statistical information and data. And it's mainly about the longhorn tick that showed up last November 2017 and is spreading all over the country, and why you need to be aware of it if you're an Rh negative, okay? And if you're just a awake person, you're probably Rh half-blood, and you're going to still be susceptible. I explained in the video why most of the Rh negatives I've met have an issue. And I wanted to state clearly that I don't have Lyme disease. I got treatment for it like over 10 years ago. But to be cautious, I don't walk in the woods now after a few weeks ago when I had ticks all over me. I didn't get a bullseye. I don't have symptoms. I've been having headaches, but it's from the brain injury. It's been something I've been dealing with, but I don't talk about it. But yeah, the ticks are crazy. These longhorn ticks aren't like the other ticks. So you should listen to this video if you're an Rh negative. It may not be the most entertaining, but it'll be helpful. It may change your life if it helps you not to expose yourself, okay? This will probably be the last video for a little while too. Just taking it easy, so Okay folks, so this video was inspired by the longhorn tick outbreak and the spreading and all these things I'll explain in the video, and I believe the arch negatives need to be aware of this. And I'm going to talk about all kinds of health stuff with the arch negatives that relate to this. I'm not a doctor or physician, and just pray for guidance and just be aware outdoors, because it's a little heavy. So I would urge you to listen to this full video though, even if you're kind of educated already. Okay, I consider it a PSA, public service announcement for my brothers and sisters. All right, okay, that's it. Continuing, I'm going to share this, these articles and these pictures. I'm going to end this video with pictures and a slideshow kind of telling you what's going on. Okay, so this is part 2, maybe part 3. Okay, I want to share this though. This is important if you have arch negative blood, or if you're a hybrid, which means if you're awake and you like to go outdoors. Okay. So I read this last night. I'm going to read these comments really quickly. So from this article, one of the stories, you know, just stepping foot into the paddock, these people, the owner and health investigators were inundated with thirsty ticks that instantly began clawing up their pant legs. DNA analysis ultimately determined the ticks were H. longicornis, which is the longhorn tick. Investigators found only one male out of 1,058 ticks collected. It's not just one tick. They seem to swarm. F that, this person writes. Okay, this is from people all over Reddit who are commenting, okay? And this isn't fear porn. This is actually, it might cause fear, but this is true. Comment, oh snap, I was in Maryland back around April, May visiting family. Behind their house is a field and a little pond. I was swarmed by ticks like you noted. Had 6 or 7 on me in seconds. Luckily none of them got a hold of me. I wonder if these were the same species. I know they only just officially confirmed they are in Maryland, which they just did. But it would be interesting to know if I encountered these little home suckers already. Nothing like some humor when you're talking about this. And since I'm in this claim, I don't have Lyme, okay? But they're gonna, people have no idea, man. But I don't have Lyme. I'm doing this for the people that don't either, and so they don't get it, okay? I went to an outdoor wedding last week and we found a S-ton in the car afterward. It was horrifying because I realized they were all chilling in the window only after one fell off my arm. I'm honestly still checking myself every morning in case I somehow missed one. I'm going to talk about proper tick removal with tweezers and everything else, you know, so hopefully I can spare some of you from a life-altering bioweapon if you catch it and treat it appropriately. Article says one female tick can spawn up to 2,000 eggs in 2 weeks with no males present. Hey, I live in Kentucky. It's tick central here. I had to stop taking my dogs on certain hikes because as soon as you touch the grass, you instantly got at least 5 ticks on you. It's crazy. Remember I told you a few weeks ago how I stopped going in the woods? If you notice, I haven't been doing woods videos. And the ones that I am uploading were from last month before I stopped because I had dozens of ticks on me all over the place. Not normal. I mean, it's like a horror show, man. Especially if you have arch negative blood, folks. Don't live in fear, but think about the psychological ramifications. If you love to go in nature and outdoors, well, you can go in water, but if you're in woods or grass, or even around the water, around a lake is where ticks congregate because they attach themselves to thirsty animals who drink from water. So, how do you report this kind of thing? I'm pretty sure the 100+ ticks I pulled off my legs in North Florida last month were these, and they aren't officially in Florida yet. I couldn't believe how many were on me after 5 minutes of being in the woods, and they are so tiny I could barely pull them off. It took over an hour. I'm gonna show in the slideshow how small these things are too, just so people know. Because this doesn't really show you. If you put a dime, like a 10-cent, none of these would even, like, and these are all engorged after they've fed. They're tiny, dude. Little evil arachnids. And spiders can transmit Lyme too. Any arachnid can. Mites. Okay. It's officially right now, according to 12 hours ago, New Jersey, West Virginia, Arkansas, North Carolina, New York, Pennsylvania, and now Maryland. And Arkansas is a hop, skip, and a jump away. And there's people I care about, and I don't want them to get this. So I hope they're listening, and I hope they be more aware when you're outdoors. Even if you're in your own yard and you're having a bonfire. I know it sucks, but ignorance isn't bliss with this, because this thing, you could get it, you don't know you have it, you think you got the flu, your head hurts, your neck hurts, you're having anxiety and panic attacks. All this stuff is documented. I'm gonna end this video with a slideshow, okay? That's gonna talk about symptoms of Lyme and the co-infections and what the bites look like half the time when you get the bullseye rash, okay? From the article, in Asia, the longhorn tick is known to carry a variety of pathogens, including rickets, japonica, the bacteria behind oriental spotted fever, and Theileria orientalis, a parasite that causes cattle theileriosis, whatever that means. It also been found harboring relatives to pathogens present in the U.S., including bacteria that cause anaplasmosis and ehrlichiosis, the parasites that cause babiosis, and the Powassan virus. This may sound like whatever, but these things are, one of those is like malaria. I mean, these things are devastating, man, and they require treatment, but you have to identify it first, and there's like a window of opportunity. Oh man, this place is Additionally, H. longicornis, longhorn tick, may harbor a newly emerging virus that causes FTS, which is short for severe fever with thrombocytopenia syndrome. It's first identified in China in 2009 and is marked by fever, vomiting, hemorrhaging, and organ failure. Reported fatality rates fall between 6 and 30%. It's pointed that studies have pointed out that the longhorn tick is being a reservoir and source for this virus. And, you know, it would almost be better people that have not had treated Lyme that live with it. They would almost rather have something that actually kills them than to live with it, because I empathize, because luckily I got treatment, and I empathize with stuff I understand, you know, and it's my blood. It's the people that have the same blood as me, you know, which is the whole point, you know, and it doesn't hurt for the afterlife for me to do this, because it's good golden ticket points, man. So, key to the tick's explosive spread and bloody blitzes is that its invasive populations tend to reproduce asexually, that is, without mating, which none of the local ticks do. Females drop up to 2,000 eggs over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, quickly giving rise to a ravenous army of clones. In one U.S. population studied so far, experts encountered a massive swarm of ticks in a single paddock, totaling well into the thousands. They speculated that the ratio might have a ratio of about 1 male to 400 females. This is frightening. With how pesticides are being regulated, this has the potential to become an enormous problem in a very short amount of time. Asexual reproduction with this many eggs at even a fraction of 400 to 1 is wild. It's not quite German roach speed, but considering where ticks live and their ability to hitch rides, this is really scary. And it's only really scary for 10% of the population, which is the Rh negatives, and whatever 40% who are half-blood recessives. Obviously, Rh negative recessives aren't going to get as sick or be as debilitated by this as the full-blooded Rh negatives, okay? But it can still really change their life, their quality of life. And they never talk about it. There's a whole cover-up of this stuff going on, and there has been. And you have no idea. It's just so evil. It makes me really upset. It's just one thing I understand that makes me really upset. And again, something I kind of wrestle with is why God would allow the people that are waking up and have this blood type, who could possibly be the descendants of the tribes, you know? It could be a bloodline thing, and it could be the arch negatives and the arch half-bloods, who are the children of Israel, the original Israelites, not the people who are living in Israel right now. There's two Jews. I call the new Jews, which I like the new Jews. They're funny. People blame them for everything, which is, again, more layers you have to get through. If you start hating and you're anti-Semitic, you got to stop that. It's not true even. It's, I think it's a straw man argument. I should look at that board. Then they said there's no evidence they're carrying disease, and then a person from Canada, sure. Just like how many doctors in Canada deny the existence of Lyme disease, and tests are already difficult to return positive. Yes, they are. When I had it, my test, because LabCorp said it didn't, the test was like, I think IGeneX Labs in California, insurance didn't cover it, it was like $700. It drains your bank account. That's why I don't ask for donations on any of the videos that I'm talking about this with, because I know these people. Anyway, is this some kind of biowarfare? How would we know if these were introduced intentionally? It's very much possible. Ecological warfare is an old trick, actually. And then this person, there's no evidence of this, and it may not be biowarfare, but anecdotally, which is not the strongest form of evidence, I mean, anecdotally, I'm basing my opinion that the arch negatives get the Lyme, the lupus, the MS, because so many of you have it. So many, and these aren't just random commenters, these are people I've talked to on the phone or emailed for a year or so, and I'd say over half of them have it. And the women who might not have ever had it, but they had kids who were given the RhoGAM shot, who, you know, reproduced with an arch positive man, so they had the RhoGAM shot because their body would otherwise reject and kill the fetus as a foreign invader, you know. But thank you to modern medicine, you can have your children, right? You get to have your kids, and you get to have a life-altering, possibly tinfoil hat thing. I mean, I don't know any of the women who've had children who don't have these issues with fatigue and brain fog and all the symptoms of the Lyme, Bell's palsy. I mean, and a lot of them, well, I got MS and you can't reach them, and it's like, it's so hard to, even if they're awake, there's still so many layers of being awake. Golly. And this person, I hate to say this will get lost, but I swear I pulled 17 of these off my dog after hiking the bluffs. They weren't bit in just on her coat. La Crosse, Wisconsin. Lived here for 8 years, never seen anything like it, just have gone through a nest. This was last year, only seen 2 like this since. These ticks have also been implicated in the transmission of the alpha galactose allergy in other countries. Allergy to the meat and byproducts of most mammals. Yeah, so you're allergic to red meat, basically. I haven't had red meat in a while, so I don't know. You know, as far as I know, whenever I've eaten red meat, I'm okay. So that was just, there was a lot more. I'm going to put the link to the thread on Reddit. Okay, this isn't being pushed on the news. They talk about West Nile fever. I'm using everything within me to try to understand, and I can't help but recognize these patterns of the RhoGAM, just even the kids with the vaccines, because that's what Lyme does. It zaps your brain, dude. It kind of makes you like autistic. I mean, in certain instances, a lot of instances. Hold on. Alright, I'm going to spice this up with a little bit of feel-good music while I do this, okay? It attacks the thyroid, too. I have understanding, and almost nobody listens, and it's so hard to... So longhorn ticks found in New York, growing number of states. No one had ever heard of the species until it emerged in China about 9 years ago. There, it is the carrier of a life-threatening virus. And it may be known for that one life-threatening virus, but the really thing you got to worry about is all the co-infections. And it could be Mother Nature saying enough, but I think it not. I think it's men who tapped into the ether, created these bioweapons, who were just probably left-brain men, and they didn't know what they were doing, and what people were going to inherit. And it's romantic to think it's like Avatar, where the Earth is having all these ticks, but the way they show up and then they leak out of a lab in Lyme, Connecticut, that isn't nature, that's man. Just like man and the gray blanket, you know? A newly discovered species of tick dubbed the longhorn is an unusual bug dominated by females that swarm their victims in such massive numbers that bitten farm animals can either become anemic or die. It's not yet been found on Long Island, but it's on the region's doorstep, having been identified in multiple Westchester County sites. The New York Department of Health said, "We haven't found it here yet, even with all the surveillance we do in Suffolk," said Scott Campbell, chief of the Suffolk County Department of Arthropods Disease in Yaffing. They're maintaining vigilance because it may make its Long Island debut. They feed on birds and may arrive here with migratory flocks, Campbell said. So far, there's no evidence of a carrier causing organism that is a carrier of it. There's no evidence that it is a carrier of a disease-causing organism that can be transmitted to people or pets. That's not true. All these things, in my opinion, they are the worst vector. Ticks and spiders are the worst vectors for these life-altering. Oh, I'm fatigued all the time. I'm having panic attacks, anxiety. I can barely get out of bed in the morning. Brain fog, memory loss, depression, and a lot of these people, they diagnose MS and then they give them, it's 444, they give them Xanax, Valium, sleeping pills, antidepressants, but they're not treating the cause. They're not treating the cause, man. And those pills, Dr. Evil, you know, profit off the suffering. You want to talk about the evil. I always thought I was evil, and the deer tick is a widespread menace on the island. Black-legged tick, it's a prolific vector capable of carrying a wide variety of different kinds of microbes, bacteria, viruses, and a malaria-like parasite, babiosis. I know that. I'm pretty researched on this stuff. It was my life path. The deer tick is best known as the carrier of the Lyme disease bacterium. No one had ever heard of the pesky longhorn tick until it emerged in China about 9 years ago. Really? That can't be true. Therefore, it is the carrier of a life-threatening virus, because that was right around when the awakening started too. The creature's scientific name is Haemophilus longicornis. It's also called the East Asian tick. Hold on. Alright. I'm putting a little music in here just because I do love music. And I'm trying to have thematic music for what I'm talking about here. The quality, or I'm hopping all over, whatever. I didn't plan on doing this video. Okay? How it arrived in this country thousands of miles from China remains a mystery. Scientists have speculated. See, I need one without words, actually. You know what I'm gonna do? Hold on. I got an idea. Alright. Going with the Axel Foley, because, you know, he's a cop. Man, he's trying to crack the case open, baby. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to crack the case. I just want people to be protected, man, that are like me. I mean, it's purely benevolent, actually. I think we study history and they tell us of all these mythological people and heroes and how they were these perfect, upstanding men, but it's not true. They're just as flawed, if not more flawed, than a normal man or woman. They may have done something and sacrificed, and they're remembered fondly with rose-colored lenses or something. but they were just as messed up as anybody else here. You know what I mean? So, God bless Axel Foley. I believe he anyway, no, don't talk about. I was gonna do some rapture humor. And that could happen, but I'm playing for, what if it doesn't happen? You know, and what if people like me, when you have the time right now, and if you can do something and broadcast the truth and it'll help people, if it helps one person, and you're gonna get attacked for it, and persecuted, and threatened, and I mean, there's nothing more noble than that, though. I mean, if this is a test, a school for souls, Jesus and the devil, and you do the right thing, I mean, that's the most important thing, is doing what you know is right. And realizing doing that is not without consequence, right? Enough, Joseph. But you got Alex, they're trying to kill me, Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs, and you know, it's, they took me off of YouTube, and he tells amazing truths, but they don't serve. It's truth mixed with lies, and if people lie to you, can you trust any of the truths they tell you? You know, I almost never lie in these videos. Almost never. Unless someone's, you know, one of those white lies, like, is my hair nice, is my ass fat, kind of thing, you know. Because I had told somebody, you know, why don't you tell me my face was so fat? You know, and they were like, come on, you know. So anyway, back on track here. And you know, if you like these videos, download them. I don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of obstruction, oppression with my channel. And so if you like the videos, I'm going to not be doing them as frequently right now. I've been having that stupid stuff from the head injury the last couple months. It's been acting up, and it's been making it difficult to it's like you're in a battle and you get shot, and then you're still in the battle and you're getting shot at, you know, and you're trying to tell the truth, and you're being attacked, and they're trying to torture you or whatever, and you know, blah blah blah. I'm a little off track now. I didn't mean to talk this long. I'm gonna finish up this stuff, okay? So the longhorn tick is new to the U.S. No, it's not new. It arrived last summer in New Jersey. It is new science. It has been detected as far away as Texas. It reproduces through a biological... Wait, is this the same one? The longhorn tick not only is new to the U.S., having arrived last summer in Jersey, it is new science. It has been detected as far away as Texas. It reproduces through a biological process known as parthenogenesis, in which the offspring are identical clones of their mother. Females produce vast clusters of eggs from which more females hatch, Campbell said. The only tick that I know of that produces through parthenogenesis. Very few males have been found in the states where the tick is located. Livestock have been the tick's primary victim. Masses of the bugs attack in what some farmers call swarms, a bloodlust that either causes anemia due to blood loss or kills the animals altogether. Although some use the word swarm, ticks do not fly, they crawl on their host and find a spot to bite. And these things are just, they're like ticks on steroids, and you've got militarized bioweapon with ticks on steroids. I can't think of a worse scenario. And all I'm thinking about is the people who have the blood like me, who, in my anecdotal experience, I haven't met any Rh positive normal people who have autoimmune diseases, you know. And the ones that do have would probably be a hybrid, but the ones that have it big time are the full-blooded. I mean, it's so common with us. And most of you didn't know about this, you didn't get treatment, and you might have late-stage Lyme, latent Lyme now in life, and you know. And again, I'm going to end this video with a slideshow, educating and informing all this information. I never talk about stuff that I don't believe to be true, and I have some authority and a life experience of my entire life on this, so I want you to know what I know, so it can hopefully help you have a better quality of life and protect yourself and your family from this kind of stuff. At least the Rh negative members, you know. Well, if you're Rh negative woman, your kids are half-bloods anyway, so you want to protect them too, because they will also be susceptible to a bioweapon that for some reason targets us. How convenient, huh? The people waking up. That's who's That's who's getting sick. That's great. The self-cloning tick, I'll read this article to end this, and then I'm going to do just a video showing screenshots. Much to the chagrin of everyone who loves the great outdoors, a new species of tick has set up residence in the U.S. The Department of Agriculture announced in May the longhorn tick, a species native to China, Japan, and Australia, successfully survived the New Jersey winter. They dig underground when it's cold. Like, these ticks aren't like other ticks, man. They swarm you, they reproduce without males, they dug underground and survived the cold winters. So that means they're not going to die, and they're going to have a longer life process to keep reproducing every couple weeks. It's so bad. It's like when you talk about I think it's called exponential growth and spread of this, it's just beginning. And most people have nothing to worry about, and so you're going to find yourself, if you're Rh negative, in the same position you always had. You're on the outside, you got something no one believes you have, and you're sensitive, and you look good on the outside too. That's what doctors always tell people that have Lyme. You look great, but on the inside, you can barely talk, you can barely move. I mean, it can be really, it's so, and it attacks the teeth, man. The women who have had the Rogam shot, like half the women I've talked to, Rh negatives, had the Rogam shot, have lost a lot of teeth, have a lot of teeth problems, even the ones in their like 20s. I mean, because the Lyme stuff, they actually eat the myelin and the nerves in your teeth, but they also attribute that to MS, so everybody thinks it's MS, but it isn't, in my opinion. MS, if I'm right in my opinion, would never effectively treat the Lyme because they're not treating it as an antibacterial with antibiotics. So the person will never recover from the MS while taking expensive MS medications. You get what I'm saying? The agenda here? And it might darken your heart a little bit, but just imagine knowing like a dozen things like this, what I'm talking about today, the longhorn tick and the Lyme tick and the cover-up, and doctors lose their license if they treat and diagnose. And then the CDC says all you got to do is take 2 doxycycline if you have a bullseye and you're good. And that is, it's insanity to me. The system isn't for us, it's against us, folks. And even most of the awake people won't understand or believe this unless they're full-blooded Rh negative like you. Because they'll probably have some of the symptoms, because any of them that don't get it, well, how many women reproduce? A lot of women reproduce, and when they do get, they get that Rogam shot, and God knows what's in it. All the lupus and all this problems with the, I mean, it's said in the Bible though that it's not people's fault they don't know better though, but when a horse mates with a donkey or something, the animal, the offspring they produce is sterile. It's almost like God had a design, which I believe. I don't believe this place is. I'm not going to get too biblical. Let's wrap this up, okay? The tick has been spotted, this article was like a week ago, in West Virginia, Arkansas, and recently in New York. So that it's now in more states, but this was written like last week. It was first discovered in the U.S. after August, after a New Jersey farmer walked into a county health office covered in ticks. She reported that she had been shearing the single sheep on her property when she noticed multitudes of the 4-legged bloodsuckers crawling up her arms. A closer inspection by health officials revealed something even more frightening: nearly 1,000 ticks moving throughout her clothing. They're not talking about this in mainstream media, on any channels. This isn't fear porn, even though it kind of should be, because it's only applying to 10% of the individuals, really, in terms of the Rh negatives who are most susceptible. What she didn't know was her entire clothing, pants, and everything, they were covered in ticks. Tagdihija Rainey, division manager of Hunterdon County Division of Health Services, told NPR. More unusual than this sight, however, was that officials couldn't identify the species of tick clinging to her clothes. A team of experts later determined it to be Haemophilus longicornis, never before seen in the U.S. and plaguing livestock that had never ventured outside the country. So how to get here, right? A description of the team's first visit to the tick-plagued farm sounds like something straight out of a horror movie. And before I read this, one of these can completely alter someone's life, and when I had gotten it before and gotten treatment, I only had like 1 tick. Okay? It wasn't a bunch of them. It's like, go into a den where there's a bunch of heroin addicts and there's just needles all over the ground and you're tripping over and a bunch of needles are stabbing you and with God knows what after having been in somebody else's body. You get what I'm saying? Like, because that's what all these little ticks are. It's all just, think of it as little hypodermic needles filled with bacteria at least half the time. Yeah, I think I illustrated that correctly. The investigation of the Hunterdon property in early October revealed a large number of ticks both on the sheep and throughout the paddock. The ticks in the paddock were so numerous that they crawled on investigators' pants soon after setting foot inside. The sheep was supporting hundreds of ticks, including all three active stages: larva, nymph, adult. And larva, or is it no, nymph, they can bite you and they're so tiny. I'll show you pictures to end this video. They're so tiny, man. And they can transmit it at that size. So I want those of you to be careful outdoors, okay? Tall grass, branches rubbing against you, tree branches, leaves, all that stuff. You have to kind of learn to be, I should have done this before, but I didn't want to scare people, but the fact of the matter is ignorance isn't bliss. You can live in ignorance is bliss for a few years and I don't tell you, and then you get this and it changes your life. And then you'd be mad that somebody didn't tell you if they knew it, you know? The ticks in the paddock were so numerous that they crawled on investigators' pants soon after setting foot inside. The sheep was supporting hundreds of ticks, and the ticks were concentrated on the sheep's ears and face. Engorged ticks of all stages were found all over its body, including areas beneath the animal's thick coat. Following a treatment in September, which I think was with permethrin, the sheep was later declared tick-free. Visits by officials in late November found no ticks in either paddocks or the surrounding grounds. While the scientists are hopeful the state's cold winter might kill off any remaining populations, the longhorn tick has one evolutionary advantage that gave them pause. The tick overwinters in the ground. No tick does that. I mean, and there's a lot of stuff in this world that's going on, man. This kind of stuff. And I see a certain pattern here, and I'm telling you, it's going for those of you who can see beyond the system. And you don't have to be afraid. We live beyond these vessels anyway, okay? There's duality, love and hate, light and dark, sun and moon, night and day, okay? There's competing forces. The tick overwinters in the ground, Rainey told the New Jersey. No tick does that. Sure enough, when entomologists visited the site again this spring, they were disappointed to discover the longhorn tick had successfully overwintered. They added that based on the evidence, the new species has established itself in the state. Besides its ability to burrow underground to avoid death from freezing temperatures, the longhorn tick also has some other characteristics that put a frightening spin on it. It produces asexually, as we know. Only one tick is needed to start a population that can grow to high numbers quickly. They don't need to find males, which can be difficult in a small population. It says at the time they came back negative for tick-borne diseases, which, again, but they write it's only a matter of time before they become carriers, and they probably already have. The tick is already a known transmitter of diseases in its native ranges. If there's any good news, it's that ticks apparently don't have a taste for bogus baloney, preferring to instead swarm livestock. No, that's irresponsible journalism right there. You can't make that assertion. I had to editorialize there for a minute. I apologize. The nymphs of the longhorn tick are very small, resembling tiny spiders. Tiny. Dude, tiny, man. Tiny. Let me show you a dime, and then I'm going to show this on. I'm going to do the wrap up on this video. I know I kind of hopped all over, and it wasn't the most concise, but I hope it's helpful for those of you who are like me, because this is really important. It's probably important than any of this other crap on YouTube, because it's your vessel, man. So here's a dime. That's a nymph. That's an adult. I don't think they're engorged. They might be, though, actually. That might be engorged. I think they are, actually. Because normally they look like spiders. But look how... That's a dime. You see how small that is? Now put a dime on your skin, and then look at the B on the Liberty on a dime, and imagine that's how big the tick is that might have got you in the legs, or dropped into your head after you brushed against a branch. That's how it happens. They wait on tree branches for deer to come by. So trees these wouldn't be as effective. Maybe that one there. They'll be on the leaves, and when trees brush under, they drop onto, I mean, when the deer brush under the tree leaves, they drop onto them. Since they're carbon dioxide, and they do the same thing to humans. I'm trying not to paint a scary picture, but I mean, really the implications of this, man, is that, here's just another picture, is that the ocean is okay, lakes are okay, but I don't think I'm going to be walking in the woods. I mean, my whole life I wanted to keep doing it, and it's life altering if you get it. And then, so there's an article about the longhorn tick. Look how little that is. I think that's a nymph. No, that's larva. So that's a nymph. I mean, and again, these are all engorged. Where's a picture of them not engorged so I can show people? Okay, man. Well, I hope this kind of just... I don't like to work off of fear, but this is something that... This is happening right now. It's continuing to happen, and if you're not really strong and you don't have detection and you go hiking or for a walk in the woods or even in your yard, if you like being outdoors, the way this thing is spreading, okay, and it's in 9 states right now, mainly on the eastern seaboard. It's only been identified in those 9 states. It's not long before I believe this thing is going to be in every state in the country, just like the other ones are. And again, because of the testing criteria and the fact that the LabCorp test, which is the default test which your insurance will cover, is very inaccurate, it's very hard to get a diagnosis. It's called a clinical diagnosis most of the time because, as I said, it's a bioweapon designed to hide from test. And so you'll have a big bullseye in your leg, if you're lucky half the time. You know, not lucky, but in that aspect you're lucky. And you go to your doctor, and I've been having this neck stiffness, brain fog, headaches, fatigue, panic, anxiety. The psychological symptoms are not to be ignored. They're like with me, hit by the cars, right? Hurt. The worst thing is the brain injuries, because it's your CPU, it's your brain, okay? And I'd rather have brain injuries than have a late-stage Lyme disease infection affecting my mind, and because it causes insanity and dementia. It's these corkscrewing bacteria. They go right through the blood-brain barrier, and your antibiotics can't get there unless you like the IV antibiotics. And you look at George Bush. He used to talk succinctly. George Bush Jr. You know how he was always stumbling in videos? He didn't seem like an idiot. If there's a video, I don't know where it is, of before and after, he got Lyme, and they treated him with IV antibiotics, but he was different, man. And it causes, people call them Lymies, because they understand that it's harder for them to talk, to pull thoughts out of their mind and speak them. There's a lot of crossover stuff with Asperger's, autism symptoms that are presented in people that have Lyme. This comment I like on the tick thread, the rapture approacheth. Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, man. And I gotta end this though. I'm gonna end it just doing pictures, okay? So I hope I conveyed the information. I'm only doing this video as a heads up for those of you who are like me, so you can hopefully avoid it. But pretend like the outdoors is the ocean and you just watch Jaws. Okay? I should have said that before, but I didn't. Before these ticks ever came onto the scene. Like I said a few weeks ago, I had dozens of them on me. And I didn't know, though. I didn't read the article until last night. And I wanted to get it out as soon as possible, this video, giving all the arch negatives a heads up, so. Okay, God bless you. And I'll wrap up with the picture video, okay? God bless.